This episode is brought to you by Kindon Accounting and Advisory. Visit kindoncpa.ca for your accounting needs as a business. Welcome back. Today, we talk the World Economic Forum.
The World Economic Forum.
And the World Economic Forum. Oh, yeah, I think we also have a guest, too. It all starts now.
Innovation is in our veins. Soon the whole world will know our names. Sharing our knowledge and freedom reign. We here for the people, you know it's our way. Setting foundations is part of the dream. It doesn't matter if you're new to the game. Listen up now, cause we all gon' say, elevate, 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 higher, elevate, 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 higher. We gon' rise up, we all gon' shine. Work through adversity, stay on the grind. Elevate, elevate, this is our time. Elevate, elevate.
Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, everyone. It's so great to have you all on one more time. It's your boy, Josh.
Dalton.
And we're grateful to be back on with you. And also with you.
Hi.
Well,
Oh my gosh.
Ex-producer Mac is back on the show.
Woman.
We were so pumped about International Women's Day that we had to bring one on.
I'm honored. Oh my gosh. Thank you so
Tell them
much.
how much you're getting paid.
Nothing. Being a woman's hard.
True.
True.
Yeah.
Wait.
I gotta go.
That's all we need. We got the intro.
Yeah.
I can head out.
Get out. Yeah, that's awesome. No, it's great to have Mac back on the show. There's so much to get into, literally a lot to get into. We've said off the top, we are diving into the World Economic Forum today. And the reason why we felt a need to is we've been very cautious of not touching on it because, A, we wanted to do our own research. We wanted to get ready. And now's that time. And it seems like it's a perfect time to talk about it because of the insanity that's going on in the world.
Yeah, I feel like there's just like no more like strategic thinking, like problem solving. It's like, let's just turn to a leader and just trust him.
Yeah. Seems like that's a little bit off the table these days. And so that's what we want to talk about because the World Economic Forum was kind of seen as a conspiracy theory in a lot of circles.
Yeah, well,
Not to be taken seriously.
those were words from Justin Trudeau, wasn't it?
Not the WEC itself,
because-
but more so the fact of the Great Reset was a conspiracy theory. Yeah.
But that's something that World Economic Forum talks about.
Yeah.
So, if that's, you know what I mean? It's like, it's strange how at one point Justin Trudeau was talking about Great Reset is a hoax. It's scary. It's like fake news. And then this agenda aligns with Trudeau's, obviously. And now he's like, say, oh, it's great, blah, 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 going on. So it's very funny.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff going on. And I guess we are a business podcast, yada, yada. In the World Economic Forum, the word economic is in it. And it does affect businesses. It's going to affect the whole world. And the whole goal of the World Economic Forum, which we'll get into it, is about resetting the global financial system. So that's what it's all about. We have a lot of articles and stuff to go through today and things to chat about. So first things first, we talked about a few weeks ago the Canadian ID system being rolled out.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So it's officially real in the province of Ontario. If you are in our Discord group, you'll see that we talked about it and we posted about it. Ontario IDs are a real thing. And so if we pull this up here.
Yeah, digital ID, right?
Digital ID in Ontario is now a thing. We're officially on the Ontario.ca website. It's official. Learn about Ontario's Digital ID program, which introduces a new, convenient way to prove who you are that will make accessing online and in-person services simpler, safer, and more secure.
OMG.
That sounds familiar from what I said a few weeks ago from a UX perspective. It's really cool. Everything in one spot. I'm all in.
Totally.
They want to be very clear. The first heading is what digital ID is and is not. So we want to get some things very clear. Digital ID is an electronic version of trusted government that provides better safety, more security, and stronger privacy than physical identification cards or documents. All right, looking after us. Cool.
Got it.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
It can be securely stored in a digital wallet app for smartphones and other digital devices like tablets or computers because those can't be easily stolen, and let people and businesses prove who they are both online and in person. So they want to tell us the digital ID is convenient, it's secure, and privacy preserving, verifiable, in your control, and voluntary. I heard that one before. What the digital ID is not stored in a central database. I highly doubt that. Not a tracking device. Interesting. And not usable without your permission. Interesting. these are some things, regardless, I know we're going to get into spicy waters right now, but these are some terminology that was used before vaccines were rolled out.
Oh, yeah.
Completely voluntary, up to you, whatever you want.
Yes.
And then it became, you can't access certain services unless you'd have this thing.
Yeah.
So when I see it on the Ontario website, what it is, what it is not, I'll take it with a grain of salt of what it is.
Absolutely.
Literally.
And then maybe what I'm thinking is from like an implementation standpoint where it says no central database. And I'm sure that maybe there's not a central database, but there's a database somewhere. Like, I mean, that information has to be somewhere.
And that's the thing. Like, if you scroll back up, and they kind of explain a little bit of the central database.
Where's that? Is that one maybe? Yeah.
Yeah. Your digital ID is stored only on your personal mobile device, for example, your phone or tablet or computer. It can be turned off remotely if your device or computer is lost or stolen. So how can it be turned off remotely if it's stored on your device?
What do you mean? That you need?
Is it going to be like?
Oh, wait.
Because it would be like Find My iPhone then.
I assume.
Or
That's
do they
what they're
mean turn
assuming.
off the device? Or I'm assuming they would, because
If they're talking about digital ID in this scenario, I doubt they're referring to your device.
yeah, they can only turn off if your device. Oh yeah, I think they're talking about the ID. So then that means then you can log in
Somewhere else.
somewhere else to deactivate your mobile wallet.
Yeah. Which, where are you pulling that information from?
Right.
And again, this is all tech stuff, right? And we talked about like that's the wording is so important. It says it's not put on a central database. What's the meaning of that?
So that just means maybe there's 100 databases across the country.
Very much. It's not on one database, but it's on multiple spread across.
Maybe.
It's still centralized, but it's just not in a central location physically.
Weird, not a tracking device. So the government will not know where you have been or where you use your digital ID. I mean, I guess that makes sense. So if I just show someone my ID, I guess they wouldn't know. But
Yeah, but when we're talking about this again, the scenario, it happened a lot in Toronto. Not so much here because no one really used it here, but more so in Toronto. If you wanted to get in, when the Vax Pass was a thing,
yeah, they scan
you
it.
scan it. So what do you mean they don't know? It's got that, again, those who are in tech know that information has to be logged somewhere.
Yeah.
That doesn't just disappear.
Yeah.
Like that's a footprint of some sort. Again, I've said it time and time again, like I work with developers constantly and I'm very well versed in what tech is. I'm sorry, when something gets scanned, it doesn't just stay there.
Yeah.
There's always some type of query and communication between a central something and the device.
Well, yes, yeah. But a QR code can store binary information.
That's true.
So the information might be on the QR code, but I think my fear is maybe not with the QR code, but with the scanners.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would assume, though, Ontario, like they did with all the Vax Pass stuff, release, like we had a Vax Pass scanner app specifically for Nova Scotia. I wonder what the scanner app they release for these people to use tracks.
Right.
Because right here it says that your digital ID is not a tracking device, but that doesn't mean their device isn't.
Yeah.
Or their scanner. Because I'm sure they would want record that you went to go get your passport renewed. I'm sure they want to know that. Like, I'm sure they would keep that information.
Well, it's curious too because like we.
Are you talking?
Yes.
You're not allowed to talk.
I don't care. The Verify Ontario app, because that's what we use to when we had to scan everyone's passport.
Yeah.
Because I would go to a restaurant and people would servers would have it just on their own device.
Yeah.
To just check. So yeah, I'm curious because it would obviously have to be stored. Well, not stored, but
But even say there's a local cache on the device. Those servers now maybe have a cache of all the things they've scanned.
CACHE, by the way, not CASH.
Oh yeah,
I just want to clarify for people who are listening.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like the idea. I don't know.
It's weird, right? Anyways, this is the point of this. Is let's scroll all the way down to the bottom where the footnotes are. Keep going. All right, footnotes.
Oh,
It talks about all the things they've kind of cited in this article and things that have kind of brought this inspiration. And one of the names that sticks out is the World Economic Forum is cited in this article.
wow. They have only one source.
They got this is a rough. I guess we'll read what the whole footnote says, but this is a rough. It says this is a rough order of magnitude estimate calculated from about 35 value drivers and hundreds of data points from various sources, including the DIACC, Digital ID and Authentication Council of Canada, and McKinsey Global Institute, and the World Economic Forum. So literally three
sources.
Three sources.
Well, it says hundreds of data points from various sources, including.
Oh, okay, that's true. Yeah.
So I'm sure there's more, but you would.
Those are the ones they highlight.
I would assume if you're going to highlight, it's probably the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
So they're saying, like, that's the value of people and business in Ontario.
Yeah, I'll read that more clearly again. It says Digital ID is the foundation that will enable easier access to online services and make Ontario one of the world's most digitally advanced jurisdictions with a value for Ontarians and businesses and government that's estimated $20 billion. So yeah, I would say that's obviously, I think, their economy.
Right.
That they want to tap into.
Right.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on there. So anyways, we talked a lot about that, which I wasn't expecting. The reason why I bring that up is because World Economic Forum is cited on a Canadian government website now. It's official. They're watching. They're watching. There's some type of impact they're having on our country now, economically. And so who is this World Economic Forum? Who are they? Let's go to that next thing. So we're on the mission website of weforum.org, which is the World Economic Forum's website.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of go through like just the first paragraph here. It says the forum engages the foremost political, business, cultural, and other leaders of society to shape global, regional, and industry agendas. It was established in 1971 as a not-for-profit foundation and is headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. It is independent, impartial, and not tied to any special interests. The forum strives in all its efforts to demonstrate entrepreneurship in the global public interest while upholding the highest standards of governance. Moral and intellectual integrity is at the heart of everything it does.
Okay.
Interesting. So that's their mission.
That's great. Little story.
Yeah, and so that's interesting what they're about. I guess look at the first paragraph of the Our Story heading. That's just a video. Never mind. So
yeah, they don't give you much.
They don't give you a whole lot, but they're just kind of a group of people that are trying to not tie to any government or special interests.
So it's so funny that they say they want to be tied to any government, but they want to effectively manipulate the world's businesses, economics, etc.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean you're just a government? Isn't that what the government does?
Yeah. It's kind of like they want to be the government.
The one government for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting. It seems, at least from what if I read between the lines, it seems like those are the intentions. And so my question is, when did it start? And they said it started in 1971. Yeah. Where they're having meetings constantly with global leaders.
Yeah.
They've been kind of attending these, I guess, lack of a better word, conferences in Geneva, Switzerland.
Yes.
With this group. And leaders from everywhere have.
Yeah.
And so who runs it? Well, the guy who runs it is Klaus Schwab. He's kind of the head of it all. And so if we go to the next article there.
I've always wondered about him. What's his title?
His title, let's look it up. Let's type it in.
Executive Chairman.
There it is.
Of the World Economic Forum. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
German engineer and economist. He founded the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, let's pull it up. Let's read his bio.
Oh, he's got a page on here.
Yeah. So the bio of Professor Klaus Schwab was born in Ravensburg, Germany in 1938. He is founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, the International Organization for Public-Private Cooperation. He founded the forum in 1971.
What an interesting sentence. Public-private cooperation.
Interesting, isn't it? That's really intriguing. He founded it in 71, the same year in which he published Modern, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that because it's all German, but in Modern Enterprise Management and Mechanical Engineering is the English translation. In that book, he argued that the management of modern enterprise must serve not only shareholders, but also stakeholders to achieve long-term growth and prosperity. Yeah.
Yeah, much.
So that's just kind of who this guy is. So the interesting thing about Klaus Schwab, he's actually written a lot of books. And let's go to this one on Amazon that he released in 2020. This one was released in June of 2020, I believe. And it was called COVID-19, The Great Reset.
Which, throwback to earlier, which was the whole thing Trudeau denounced.
Trudeau let those words slip on a public call.
Yes.
And people freaked out. And then he turned around and said, stop worrying about it. It's a conspiracy theory. It's not real. This, that, the other. Don't worry about what I said.
Right.
And he kind of walked it back, which was kind of funny because he said that. I remember that call happened after the release of this book.
Got it.
So there's been a lot of gaslighting that's happened over time. And I do find it interesting that this man wrote a book about how COVID-19 was a great opportunity for a great reset.
Yeah.
And what do we mean? What do you think it is a great reset? Well, let's read the summary of this book. COVID-19, The Great Reset is a guide for anyone who wants to understand how COVID-19 disrupted our social and economic systems and what changes will be needed to create a more inclusive, resilient, and sustainable world going forward. Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, and Thierry Malere, founder of the monthly Barometer, explore what the root causes of these crises were, and they lead to need for a great reset. So again, these things of a reset of a global monetary policy, monetary system, and seems social. And we kind of referenced that one video that came out back in 2019, way back when. I have it somewhere. It's on my device. It's not on YouTube no more.
Yeah.
Where they go through kind of the 10 things they expect to happen by 2030.
Yes.
You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. You will have delivery by drones to your doorstep.
Yes. Simple living.
Exactly.
Like carefree living.
Environment will be taken care of.
Yes.
All this type of stuff is really, really odd.
You will simply exist within a fully controlled robot.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. We'll all be one together, kind of like a big old Disney city.
Oh, triggered.
But if we want to go to that Great Reset video, this is a YouTube video we came across, a minute and a half long, 90 seconds. It's called The Great Reset from the World Economic Forum's YouTube page. And we will describe the words that come up as they come up as this video as we play it.
It starts off so dark.
It's so dark. Our world has changed, it says.
It's all COVID, scary stuff. Zoom calls.
Our challenges are greater.
Hurricanes, forest fires.
Our fragility is exposed. Our systems need a reset.
When you listen to this audio through these like professional headphones,
Everyone has a role to play. The Great Reset. As we look at trees.
that video makes you feel weird, right?
It makes it feel like this should be satire. Like this.
Do you
would
feel like
be,
you're watching a movie in IMAX?
Yes.
Yeah, but also something that I feel like they would put on SNL to be like
the in between where Skeet Davidson's like making fun of someone.
Yeah, because it just seems like, yeah, it's too eerie in a sense.
It's so strange, and like the beginning is all the like spraying down buses and COVID tests and Zoom calls and like reminding us of all what's I guess crazy is this came out June 3rd.
True. 2020.
So that's only a couple months into COVID.
Okay, I have just one question. They show their protest where it was, I think, a BLM protest, and there was an individual wearing a mask, like a COVID mask, but on it she had wrote, "I can't breathe," which, if I'm correct, was...
That was from,
George Floyd.
From George Floyd, right? Mm-hmm. When did that happen?
I think that would happen like May.
So they were quick to film this video and get this out.
Yeah. I could be wrong. I want to fact check on that. I'm actually curious. I'm pretty sure it was like early May, mid-May. May
25th.
May 25th.
So they had a 10-day turnaround. May 25th.
Because the protest started like...
Yeah, a couple days after.
3 days after, I believe.
Right. So they...
Wow. That's eerie.
There's parts of that video that made me feel like they knew things were going to happen.
Yeah, because like it's almost like when I'm watching it on this side of things and here in March 2022, it's like, oh yeah, I've lived that.
This episode will come out 2 years after Halifax's first lockdown.
True.
This will come out on the 14th. We locked down Friday the 13th, 2020.
Did we?
2 years ago.
Did.
That's crazy.
We've been doing this. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no,
I thought
no,
that was an interesting number.
That is an interesting number. No, because when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, like I feel like I've lived this. And then I look back at the timestamp of this. I'm like, oh, we were only a couple months in.
But I feel like I've recently have lived this. Maybe it's just everything's been a blur, but
no, that's what I mean. Is like I've already lived it, but the fact that this was only 2 months in, we haven't really experienced anything yet.
I know.
It's weird.
I know.
Mm-hmm. And so that's why I get a little leery when the Great Reset's ever talked about, or the World Economic Forum's talked about, and how people are so easy to be shut down. Don't talk about that. That's a conspiracy theory. Why? Why am I not allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever there's something that's a government saying don't talk about, why?
Yeah.
Is it uncovering something? Mm-hmm. Like, does it make you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what the plan is. Like I don't know what the whole plan is.
Yeah, what does 2030 look like then? So say we own nothing, we're happy, we're stupid little minions, whatever. What does 2030 look like? Like what's their?
I think the ultimate goal for 2030, from what I've understood, reading a lot of this stuff, or at least the predictions, it was a prediction technically. Because that's the thing that bothers me. Is that video was you've watched that video?
It's on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Not anymore. They took it down after all this went down.
Are you sure?
100% sure. I've tried looking for it. I cannot find it.
Really?
Yeah.
Probably on Twitter or Reddit.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on Facebook though. It's definitely on Facebook. So just do another Google search, or do DuckDuckGo search. Go to a DuckDuckGo search and you'll find it that way.
DuckDuckGo.
This will give you a proper search result. So just type in "you'll own nothing" and you'll be happy. There you go.
And keep in mind when you fact check or when you go to the typical fact checker, it's going to say that this is false.
A lot of people covering it, but there it is, right there, the really screwed up version. Yeah. 8 predictions for the world 2030. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy.
There it is.
Whatever you want, you'll rent, and it'll be delivered by drone. The U.S. won't be the world's leading superpower, which we are seeing. A handful of countries will dominate. You won't die waiting for an organ donor. We won't transplant organs. We'll print new ones instead. You'll eat much less meat. An occasional treat, not a staple, for the good of the environment and our health. 1 billion people will be displaced by climate change. We'll have to do a better job at welcoming and integrating refugees. Polluters will have to pay to emit carbon dioxide. There will be a global price on carbon. So that's kind of like the video that really
the first one. You'll rent everything. It'll be delivered by drone.
Yeah, that's weird.
That reminds me of Parks and Rec.
Oh my gosh!
Did you ever see that when they actually have
Oh yeah.
Like that's funny though. It seems like they would have gotten that from.
Yeah, seriously.
Gosh,
because that's how life was.
That's ill, and they literally said you'll own nothing and be happy about it. And so now that literally, we'll post that video. Right, like we should link that for people, just so people can see,
link
like,
everything.
You know, because they've done a really good job at hiding it. Like you had to go through a private browser, to just be able to find it.
Yeah,
so it's like they obviously wanted to get that off the internet. Why did they want that off the internet? Because it's crazy.
The crazy part too is that was released in 2019.
Yeah, before the pandemic.
Yeah, so the little things like this are just
they've been planning.
It's weird.
This is 1971.
Yeah. Like they've been doing all these types of things, having these types of meetings, and let's go to Klaus Schwab. Who is this man? Let's listen to this man here.
I want to know what he owns.
Yeah, I do want to know what he owns. We'll just play this one right out.
Klaus Schwab, Trudeau.
This is Klaus Schwab talking about Trudeau and Canadian government's cabinet.
Got it.
When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum. But what we are very proud of now, the young generation, like Prime Minister Trudeau, president of Argentina and so on, that we penetrate the cabinets. So yesterday I was at a reception for Prime Minister Trudeau, and I know that half of this cabinet, or even more half of this cabinet, are for our actually young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
And that's true in Argentina too.
Isn't that crazy?
Wait, yeah, this just really screams like I'm trying to take over vibes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like I'm gonna brainwash them from when they're young.
Yeah. All right, let's rewind back here. So he says Trudeau and a bunch of young global leaders have ties to the World Economic Forum. That came out of Klaus Schwab's mouth himself at some type of meeting at John F. Kennedy. Isn't that crazy?
Over half of the cabinet are supportive
Of the World Economic
of the
Forum.
World Economic Forum.
And their visions. So what that's telling me is we have over half of Trudeau's cabinet who's on board with a global leadership and not really a Canada first leadership,
Yeah.
which is interesting. And the word I don't like that he used was penetrate.
Me
which
either.
means there's some type of aggression implied there.
Yeah, he wants to penetrate a cabinet, meaning I'm not going to ask.
Yeah. We got to take this by force is what I'm gathering from that. So it's kind of weird.
No, it's not kind of weird. That's weird. It's not.
It's uncomfortable.
It's giving like scary. It's not nice.
Well, it's just because he also mentioned only Argentina and then
Canada.
Anyone else?
And so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
And
why
he
just
struggled to
those-
spit out Argentina.
Yeah, and why just like he's Justin Trudeau and then who else?
Yeah, Justin was the first that came to mind.
Yeah, that was the first
Yeah.
one. Fresh on his mind.
I would like to see like people who completely disagree go against him and just be like, let's hear, because I feel like this guy is all for him. Like, whatever they're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Again, from a just pure like selling point, like it seems like, oh, this would be cool. We could all work together as one global community, and we don't have to, be divided, and we can just work together to have resources. It's really cool, I guess, in a lot of ways, sure. But like when you get down to the bare bones of what they're actually doing, it's spooky.
Big Brother vibes.
Very,
Yeah.
very Big Brother vibes.
I don't want that.
That's the guy. Let's go to the next video. This is again Klaus Schwab talking about what's going to happen here. We're going to end it at 1:35.
It will play out in November. But what we know is that we will
I just
end
want to give
up.
context on this first. So this is Klaus Schwab talking about what's kind of going to be in store. He was talking, this is in July of 2020. He's talking about kind of leading up to the election in America.
Right.
And kind of what this means for the World Economic Forum.
I don't know how it will play out in November, but what we know is that we will end up with many more unemployed, and particularly also people in the grey economy, which are not counted for, who lose their jobs. So we will see definitively a lot of anger already now, but probably increased by the end of the year, because this crisis will be with us until we really have found a remedy. So we have to prepare for a more angry world. And how to prepare? It means to take the necessary action to create a fairer world, to see that we provide everybody with decent access to the health system, that we make sure that those people who are really left behind, and I'm not speaking only on national levels, I'm speaking also internationally. If I see now the tragedy in some of the emerging countries like South Africa, like some countries in East Asia, I think it's all, I don't have too many remedies. The remedies have to be discussed through dialogue by the stakeholders of our global system. But I just see the need for such a dialogue, and I see the need for action. I see the need for a great reset.
He sees a lot, but he's got a big old pipe box with a bunch of wind.
Yeah. He sees a lot coming down.
You
The
look
pipe.
at church organs. A bunch of wind.
I love how he ends it with, "I see a great reset."
He is weird.
And that's the thing is like, I find it weird that we talk about this on their website. He had an interview with CNBC and we're told that if you talk about it in this type of context, that we are not allowed to talk about it. And if we actually had more of an audience, say we had 100,000 listeners a week, we would probably be censored off YouTube for talking about the Great Reset.
I have an issue with censorship, I guess, then, in general.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to the world where we no longer challenge things? Because this gentleman is challenging the status quo right now by doing this, whatever you want to call this. Mm-hmm. So why are we, as people who think it's not right, not allowed to talk about it? And it's the same thing. All of COVID, you had to pick a side. If you talk about the other side, you're going to get exiled, regardless of what you think. Blah 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 blah. And we're not hearing people out anymore. We're not talking. We're listening strictly to speak again. We're not listening to absorb any information, learn. It's like we've been in one big argument for 2 years.
You have to prepare for a more angrier world.
Like that's evil genius, Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated.
Yes.
That's who you pay your taxes to. And he's got a bunch of great ideas. And do you know what ideas and dreams are without actions? Ideas and dreams. Mm-hmm. So who's going to do all this?
Exactly.
He hopes and dreams for healthcare for all these people, and he hopes and dreams for fairness and blah, blah. Who's paying for that?
Right.
Not me. I would love to never pay for that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm fine. I'm so okay with contributing to Canada. Mm-hmm. I don't quite care what goes on in East Asia right now. Sorry. There's enough going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to consider, obviously, as you're saying. And there's
so much to consider.
So much to
the
think
world. The world's.
Yeah.
I can't even fathom the size of the world.
Yeah. It's so much the internet's made it feel small, but it is so huge.
It's ridiculously big. And the fact that one organization wishes to monitor, govern, support the entire world. How do you execute?
And this is why it goes back to COVID-19, right? This guy wrote a book about how COVID-19 is a great opportunity for a great reset.
So he saw something bad. This is an opportunity.
Yeah, this is their time.
That's crazy. That's mental.
Mm-hmm.
And what the heck is going on? That can't be real.
No, it feels like it can't be real. But then it depends on the way you see the world, what lens you see the world in. If you see the world kind of in the world that everyone's out to take care of you, this, that, the other, it makes all sense. Just get your vaccine. We'll all go back to normal.
What a naive way to look at life. Has nothing ever hurt you? Like, has nothing ever knocked you down a peg to make you realize that this world hates you and that every day you have to get up and prove as to why it doesn't?
Right.
You're owed nothing. No one owes you anything. They don't even owe you a hello.
So I'm going to bring it full circle back, all right? Get ready for this.
Yeah.
Do you remember a guest we had on once upon a time? I'm forgetting his name, but he wrote a book called Disaster Proof.
Yes.
Do you remember who the top guy was who praised his book?
No.
Klaus Schwab.
Really?
Yeah. He endorsed it.
Really?
Yeah, he talked about it on this podcast. He's like, yeah, Klaus Schwab endorsed my book, Disaster Proof. He thought it was a great idea. And
I didn't even know this guy's name back then.
No.
I had no idea who Schwab was.
I caught on to it because I've been following this stuff for a while. But I was just like, wait, Klaus Schwab endorsed your book? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. Obviously, it wasn't going to get into it back then, but that was a conversation we had in 2021, summer 2021.
Yep, summer.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
No, but
it was the remote one.
Yeah.
I was remote for that one.
You were remote for that one. Yeah. Lance Armlock or something like that. Hemlock.
It's something like that.
Yeah, Lance Hemlock, something like that. He was a great individual. I thought he was a great economist.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was a great interview.
Yeah.
He taught us a lot. But I did catch, that was the one thing that always stuck out to me from that interview was that Klaus Schwab himself, upped his book. He was like, yeah, this is a great book.
weird. It's so weird. I don't want to exist in a world where everything's handed to me.
Mortlock.
Where I'm, yes.
Lance Mortlock. Booyah.
Where I'm just expected to exist in a churning cycle of people where there's no reason for me to do anything. Mm-hmm. That's so weird. Like, it's like...
Yeah. So you're right. And we go through all this. Why? Well, we wanted to bring this to our listeners. I know a lot of our listeners are already kind of aware of a lot of this stuff that's going on. But to those who may not be, we also want to bring this to you. So is what we're seeing today a big part of this grand plan? Record high gas prices. Is it fully the reason Russia, or is there also other factors aiding in increased gas
was
prices?
on the ups before this war.
Exactly.
Groceries was on the ups before this war.
Inflation's through the roof.
Meat, dairy, all of that through the roof. And we're all going to be vegan in less than 6 years. So, get ready. Schwab said so. So we're going to be vegans, so we won't need to eat meat unless it's a treat, a little meat treat. Mm-hmm. And, we won't need to drive anywhere because drones will do everything for us.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Lock me indoors.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like eventually we're going to end up kind of like the people in WALL-E, just sitting in our chairs,
Rotting.
getting everything delivered to us while we're riding off in a spaceship with the Earth rotting behind us.
My gosh, probably. I mean, I could see it.
Yeah.
Well, to what degree? This may be. Well, no, this is just a question.
Please.
To what degree do you think you would have to take for them to actually get every single country or every person on board? Because all these countries are a lot are against each other and a lot are for each other. But how do they expect everyone to kind of be?
You make a bunch of followers.
Yeah.
You breed a bunch of followers.
Yeah. You get a very sleepy guy into office. Helps.
Sleepy Joe.
Yeah. And that's why I think the Donald Trump thing really played against us in this scenario. Because we had a guy who was very bombastic south of the border.
Did you watch Trump shake Putin's hand?
Yeah.
And because there's a video of Putin shaking Biden's hand, and Putin makes sure he's in the front so his arm's nice and big. And he does that to Trump, but Trump pulls him in.
I didn't see that.
Who messes with Putin? Trump really pulled him in and looked him in the eyes. He shook his hand.
Right.
And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't listen. Don't chalk me up as a Trump supporter, but that was cool.
Yeah. All right. So, I can't remember what my train of thought was. Putin. Yeah. So he did so much. Trump did so much crazy crap that we didn't see all the craziness that Trudeau was doing or would say.
Yeah, we were so convinced that we only had to worry about American politics.
Yeah.
Because Trump said if you so much as go near Ukraine, he was going to bomb Moscow, didn't he?
That was the word on the street, and then it was verified that he did say that to Putin.
What?
His exact words were, "You even touch a blade of grass in Ukraine, and I will bomb Moscow."
That's how you guarantee that nothing happens.
Exactly, right? And so, that was the thing. You say you want I was talking to somebody about this before. Was how uncertain we felt about Trump here as citizens, whether it be your Canadian citizen or American citizen. The world leaders also felt that about Trump too. He was unhinged. They didn't know if he was being serious or bluffing, and
so they just took him serious.
Yeah, do you really want to bluff on a bombing of your major capital? I don't think so.
No.
And so as you said it with the handshake thing, Trump really demanded respect from Putin.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to, again, the World Economic Forum situation. I think this is now just
an opinion.
This is an opinion now. This is not fact. This is just opinion. That I think this war with Ukraine has a lot more to do with the World Economic Forum and NATO than anything else.
It's almost 100% about NATO. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced now. It's nothing to do with
all Ukraine. The NATO countries are on board with this World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
And Russia didn't like the fact that NATO was pushing up on their borders, and Ukraine was the last holdout in NATO, right? He wasn't a fan of it. He's like, "You guys take Ukraine, then I'm not playing no more." And I think behind the scenes, I think Putin doesn't want to be on board with this economic forum stuff, and I think he wants to keep Russia's sovereignty. And this is him acting out.
Listen, I want to keep Canada's sovereignty if this is what we're going towards.
Yeah, I just don't want to have to invade a country over it.
Yeah, well, that's luckily we're surrounded by NATO anyway.
Yeah, luckily.
You know, so
Luckily for us. Yeah, so it's there's a lot going on, obviously. And this kind of goes into, I'm curious, we're going to kind of shift gears a little bit, but it's all kind of, it's part and parcel. Let's hope the miles driven pilot program in the U.S.
Shifting gears.
oh my gosh,
Miles.
You were just...
that
what's this one?
is a menace.
The infrastructure package includes vehicle mileage tax program.
Yeah, one of 4 free articles, but if you join the World Economic Forum, you get unlimited views.
So this from a little bit ways back, but this was under Biden's $1 trillion infrastructure package. And so the U.S. Senate passed President Joe Biden's infrastructure bill with bipartisan support from 19 Republicans, yada, yada. Buried in the 2,700-page infrastructure package is a pilot program for a vehicle mileage tax. Here's how it works. Here's how it works and what it can mean for your wallet. A vehicle mileage tax or vehicle miles traveled fee would charge motorists a fee based on how many miles they drive. Simply put, if you drive a vehicle, you would pay money to the government for every mile you drive. The time period can vary, but it's typically a vehicle miles travel fees is measured in a 1-year period. A vehicle miles travel fee can be used to raise revenue for transportation infrastructure projects.
Oh,
interesting. Now the government's going to start charging you for how much you drive.
What?
Yeah, man.
Just think of all the theft, or like people would find so many ways of making that not happen in their daily lives.
What the heck?
Oh my god.
And it's a pilot program that got approved in an infrastructure bill, right?
I'm surprised that it had Republican support.
120.
Well, this is the issue of politics. Is the headline of the bill was probably something very culture war related.
Right.
That if anyone opposed it, they'd look really bad. And so they bury something like this right at the bottom of it so they can get away with it. That's how politics works.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. So they're just going to say if you drive 100 kilometers, there's a 3-cent per kilometer fee. We'll send you an invoice with your income tax in April.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Mm-hmm.
And when you bring your car in for an MVI, we'll check your kilometers, log that on your new digital ID,
yeah.
brought to you by the World Economic Forum,
yeah.
and then it'll go on your World Economic taxes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, get the drone.
Get the drone. Oh my gosh! But then, what would that mean for like?
Yeah, are they going to track drone miles?
But also, are they going to check like? So it's just for vehicles, right? Like in general, like what about trucks, like truckers and stuff like that?
I'm guessing
like,
truckers would probably be exempt from this because they have to.
we're all buying 18-wheelers.
Everyone's a trucker.
Honk honk.
Got to go to the grocery store. Let me take my 18-wheel.
Let me bring this full trailer with me to load up my Costco haul.
Because that just seems, I don't know. I think a lot of people would then. Well, who knows?
That's the goal. Stop driving.
Yeah, stop driving.
You don't have to go to work because you're just paid to be a bum. And then you just get everything delivered.
Oh, no.
You don't need to drive.
Oh, no.
This is a deterrence. Fees for doing things are a deterrent.
Yeah. That's how this works. And this is why I find very interesting, obviously, with the Russia situation and gas prices soaring. I can't believe we're about to hit $2 a liter for gas. It's
Next
nuts.
3 to 4 weeks, Nova Scotia, over $2.30 a liter. We're going to be over 2-3 weeks.
And so my thing is, this is kind of what I find interesting about the government is, so say things cool down over Russia, Ukraine at some point.
That price ain't changing, dog.
That price, I think it changes, but it changes to $1.50. Oh, it's not as bad as $2.30. So $1.50 I can handle.
Oh, it's like a not jump scare, but it's like get everyone used to $2.30. It's like when they they'll mark something up to mark it back down.
Yeah.
So you feel you're getting a deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that could happen. I don't know if it will. It could. All I'll say is going back to goals of the World Economic Forum. In the past week, I've had 5 to 7 people call me directly.
Yeah.
Asking me, what do I need to do to get an electric vehicle?
Yeah.
Sure. I guess I did that.
You're manipulating public behavior through prices, right?
Yes.
That's how this works.
Yes.
When you have a vehicle mileage program, again, this is from a Forbes article. It's not some like backwoods.
Hillbilly Trumpster website.
Yeah, like this is for real.
Yeah.
And Like this stuff's happening. This stuff has been snuck in, and this is what is going on. And so I will bring this all the way back home full circle. Let's go to right here. This is an article that came out. This is through the Ottawa Citizen. This was published back in September.
Oh my gosh.
But the title says, military leaders saw pandemic as a unique opportunity to test propaganda techniques on Canadians, Forces report says.
Now, simply stop, and then everyone look at this picture. And that's who is leading this. That's someone from Modern Warfare 2.
Price?
Like,
You're not wrong.
that's
man.
crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. The Ottawa Citizen says Canadian military leaders saw the pandemic as a unique opportunity to test out propaganda techniques on an unsuspecting public, a newly released Canadian Forces report says. The federal government never asked for the so-called information operations campaign, nor did cabinet authorize the initiative developed during the COVID-19 pandemic by the Canadian Joint Operations Command, yada, yada. But military commanders believed they didn't need to get approval from higher authorities to develop and proceed with their plan. And retired Major General Daniel Gosselin said, who was brought in to investigate the scheme, concluded in his report. The propaganda plan was developed and put in place in April 2020, even though the Canadian Forces had already acknowledged that the information operations and targeting policies and doctrines are aimed at adversaries and have a limited application in a domestic concept.
It seems like the military and RCMP were doing everything but their job in April 2020.
Yeah.
Like everything but their job. And they just thought that they could run propaganda. What was it? On unsuspecting Canadians without seeking approval from higher power. You're just the military. You don't get to you don't get to toy with Canadian lives because you're in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I still think Trudeau had something to do with it. It just wasn't done through official channels.
You're right.
But like, I'm not gonna lie. I remember me and Kelsey got into a bit of a tiff over this in like early in the pandemic.
Oh.
When I remember Trudeau saying, you know, we're upping our marketing stuff or like commercials to really educate people on COVID-19, this, that, the other.
Yes.
And I just remember commercials coming on the radio and stuff that just felt odd. Like it just felt it felt propaganda-y to me.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I get it. COVID-19's bad. I get it. You know, put your mask on. Like, I get it.
We all got that on March 13th.
Yeah.
We understood the severity day one.
Exactly. And I know there was still some more education needed to happen. Sure, like people in the cities per se probably heard it more than others. Yeah. But it just got to the point where I was like, it was just the tone of these commercials, like very happy, very giddy. Yeah, we're in this together, guys. Yeehaw. It was just like, the tone
Like,
felt...
dog, we're not.
Yeah, we're not in this together, clearly. It just felt odd to me. And this is why me and Kelsey kind of got into an argument about it, because she's like, well, what can you point to that's like, and you have an issue with it? I was like, I can't pinpoint of like what the issues I have with this. It just sounds odd. Like that freaking Great Reset video we watched where it just seemed like super inspirational.
The vibe just gets you.
Yeah, there's something off about it, and I didn't like it at the time. And so anytime a COVID-19 commercial came out, I would change the channel because I was like, this is weird to me.
Yes.
I don't know what's going on. You know, and then an article like this comes up September 2021, and I'm like,
oh, internal investigation reveals.
Yeah. Military was testing propaganda techniques on citizens. I didn't look into it specifically of like what they did, but I don't think they get into it. But they did something.
And typically there's propaganda ran during a war.
Right.
And look at us now.
True.
Yeah, even this one. Like they relied on propaganda techniques similar to those employed during the Afghanistan war.
Oh yeah, you know, like the weapons of mass destruction. Oh, that was Iraq.
The campaign called for shaping and exploiting information. Interesting.
CJOC claimed the information operations scheme was needed to head off civil disobedience by Canadians.
Oh, see, no one likes civil disobedience because that means the public knows too much.
Wait a second. CJOC claimed the information operations scheme was needed to head off civil disobedience? What's that mean, head off?
To like make it go away.
Oh, during the coronavirus pandemic and to bolster government messages about the pandemic.
So they wanted the government to sound right and the people of the Canadian populace who were speaking out against it to be quiet.
Not surprised.
So what you're saying is the vibe I was feeling was something was up.
Yes. They literally, to head off civil disobedience by Canadians. So while people were becoming upset doing their own thing, like maybe seeing the true colors too much. They were seeing too much. Bring it back down a notch. We got to bring it back down. And we have to play all these commercials to trick or to continue to trick the poor souls that we've got wrapped around our fingers.
Fair enough. And this all comes back to Ontario IDs. Digital IDs are coming soon. And it's cited by the World Economic Forum. These are the things that we wanted to touch on today. There's a lot there. We want a lot to unpack. Poor Philip. We had a lot of stops and goes this episode.
God.
There's going to be a lot of editing for him.
Yeah, Putin hacked our cameras.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But like, where does this leave us, right? Like, this is the question. Okay, we talked about a lot of things and we cited a lot of things. Like, I will be honest, at least from my perspective,
All I said is...
You said it. And
said
it
Putin.
stopped.
I know.
Shoot.
I know. That's 3 times. Immediately after saying his name.
They know something we don't.
I know something you don't.
So you want to start a war? Absolutely.
Very much.
That's literally how it felt to me in the heat of it. I was like, there's something off about these commercials.
Yeah.
I think there's something about kind of the making you feel it is okay to stay at home, making you feel, oh, it's okay to do all these things that are unnatural to just the human mind. It's like you should be adventurous. You should go outside, but your government is saying like, oh, this is okay. You should be obedient, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't like disobedience. That's the entire thing. They don't want people to have like the free thought or the disobedience. I mean, sometimes the free thought can end up going somewhere that it shouldn't be.
Sure.
But still, it's just, it is.
We have the right to it.
Yeah. It's such a narrative of be like, oh, just be an obedient
puppet.
Be an obedient puppet and we'll get through this together. And then it's been taken forever and it's gone out on everyone's mental health, even though the government's got your back. But it's just, no, they really just made it worse.
It takes 28 days to build a habit. And Justin Trudeau's been tricking you for 2 years.
He's looking for that TikTok content right there.
So
he was waiting. But no, you're right. Like you 28 days to form a habit. Obviously spent 2 years. Like that's why there's such a fight right now. I'm seeing obviously between people as we start to lift restrictions. People feeling I feel comfortable in my mask. I'm going to keep my mask, which is fine. More power to you. That's what you need. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But then it's just like it's the constant, shaming of people who don't.
Are you crazy?
Yeah. Are you not your mind?
Don't come near me. I don't plan to.
Yeah, please.
Don't actually come near me.
Yeah. Please don't do that. Yeah. And so with all the thing that's gone on the past 2 years and everything, and I think the big thing I want to hit on is we're not talking out of our butts on this one. Like we really want to go out and do as many articles as possible in this podcast to cite what's going on, videos that we've come across that just make you think.
Just make you think.
Yeah.
Think for yourself.
Please. And if any of this just makes it sound weird, we are going to cite and link everything we went over. It's going to be in the show notes, whether you're watching this on YouTube, whether you're listening to this on just the podcast, it will be there. You can go look at these articles yourself and come to your own conclusions. Maybe we're off our rockers. Maybe we're wrong.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We are so allowed to say things and be wrong and recognize we're wrong. But if the one thing we are saying is research what is happening in your own country so you can make a decision, because I promise you, no one is out to look after you. No one will look after you. There is no single one person at the end of the day who looks out for you more than yourself.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Unless you're in the Elevate Podcast Discord, we always look out for you there.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, it's like...
Just kidding. That's shameless plug.
Shameless.
When the drones take over, there will be no more Discord.
True. Be a drone Discord.
And then Philip brought this one up. We had this as a bonus. I guess we may as well go into it. This was a science.org article. Researchers turn mosquitoes into flying vaccinators.
That's what I'm calling them from now on when I see mosquito. It's a flying vaccinator.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, scientists have dreamed up various ways to tinker with insects' DNA to fight disease. One option...
2010, by the way.
This is from 2010?
Yeah.
Shoot, I didn't even catch that. Month of March. March 2010. What a month to do things.
Yeah. Yeah, March is a hot month, dog.
Seriously, one option is to create strains of mosquitoes that are resistant to infections with parasites or viruses, or that are unable to pass the pathogens on to humans.
Well, yeah, because didn't they want to try and do this in like Africa? I think I remember hearing about this, where they were trying to fight it and go back against like the problem that they carry malaria and they carry all these problems. And then they were like, well, what if we flipped that and tried to help them instead? But now this is just way too more.
I'm wondering about what diseases came from mosquitoes after 2010.
Well,
They use CSS to hide COVID.
yeah.
Literally.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's yeah, that's just an interesting little article. Intriguing. I also do know, and more recently, Bill Gates was looking to fund research into that as well.
That man's name comes up too often in too many things.
Dude, I want to talk about that for a second. Why in the world is it wrong of me to question vaccines, but we should just take Bill Gates' word at everything medical related?
Yeah.
Help me understand that one. I
Yeah.
was curious.
I wonder if he's backed by the World Economic Forum, because he's like not a people pleaser, but it's like he always has a stance and it never sways. He's highly educated on it, no matter what, and vocal about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's for the people.
Yeah. This camera's not.
You said Bill Gates now.
Yeah.
Yeah, big names. This camera does not like big names.
No, we don't like the big names on this camera. Well, either way, that was quite the show.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe there was a little bit of rambling or me letting out maybe like 2 years of pent up frustration with like, I don't even know. Just like people just berating and not allowing for your own thought and thought production and just navigating life on your own accord.
Yeah.
So just, who knows?
Yeah. Well, I will say this. I'll say it again. I said too many times on this podcast. Just look at all the things we went over.
Yeah.
Do your own don't take our word for everything. We might be a little.
Yeah, we're not experts either.
No. We just caught on to a theme. That's part of my job as a designer, is I catch on to trends and mass data. That's part of what I do. I just wanted to, I've been following this for a while. I wanted to put together my ideas in one show. Here it is.
That's right. If you get left in the dust, don't say we didn't warn you.
Yeah. Well, as we're all living in bunkers and drones are flying things to us.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we love you all. So whatever it is you're doing, whether you be trying to cross the border.
What?
Gotcha.
Flying a drone. No! Yes! Pick a new one.
Or being an alpha male on a podcast.
Oh! Don't let men on microphones.
Red flag. Whatever it is you're doing.
Whoever it is you are.
We love you.
We're out.
Peace.